Thanks for liking all my memes on Twitter. My Twitter's been blowing up today. I mean, I know I have posted a little more than usual on it, but like, you guys really appreciate my my Godzilla King of the Monsters memes. Alright, what's up everybody, D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be talking about the Godzilla King of the Monsters reviews. Oh, it's kind of startling for some. It's exactly what I expected. Let's take a look at Godzilla's track record, shall we? Let's go on Rotten Tomatoes, the #1 end-all be-all, definitely definitive way to test if a movie's good or not. I'm being sarcastic. Let's check Rotten Tomatoes and look through the history of Godzilla. They're actually surprising to me. The majority of Godzilla movies do have positive reviews. They're over 50%. Actually, King of the Monsters is too, but the majority of these are like, they have the little tomato symbol. That being said, there's only 3 Godzilla movies in franchise history that are certified as fresh. The rest of them aren't. Most Godzilla movies are sitting around the 50% mark, sitting between 40 to 60%. Seems to be, if we had a bell curve, that seems to be where we'd have our majority of our reviews. King of the Monsters falls right in there. King of the Monsters just received, actually I think Rotten Tomatoes revealed it as like a 46 or something like that. What did Rotten Tomatoes reveal it as? Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes revealed the movie with a 48%. Their little description of the movie is, critics say that the characters are thin and the writing is a bit stale, but if you want giant-sized brawl, Godzilla delivers. Alright, sure. I mean, some Godzilla fans, like, that's all they need. They don't even care. They're like, giant monsters fighting? Okay. Like, they're already sold. Good job, Rotten Tomatoes. You just sold them. I just think it's funny, like, there's 3 Godzilla movies that are certified as fresh. The original Shin Godzilla, that actually surprises me. Shin Godzilla and Godzilla 2014. Again, that actually also surprises me if we're honest here. Shin Godzilla, I get it because like that movie was critically acclaimed. Like every critic loved it in Japan. So I'm sure the American Western critics were like, well, I guess, you know, that kind of feels like what would have happened because if we're honest, American audiences didn't really like Shin Godzilla. And then Godzilla 2014, which is sitting at a 75%. I'm actually surprised that one is as high as it is considering the way the movie was received over here. And Godzilla 2014 actually has a lower audience score than it does critic score. It's got a 66%, which is different than the majority of Godzilla movies, which the audience score is significantly higher than the critic score. So Godzilla King of the Monsters has worked its way up to a 56% when I'm recording this video. It's got 56% with 39 reviews. Now that's not a lot of reviews, first of all. That it just isn't. Godzilla 2014 has a 75%, but it also has 314 reviews from critics. So there is a huge difference between what we're seeing with 2014 and what we're seeing with Godzilla King of the Monsters. And the other thing with King of the Monsters is they rushed the reveal here. The embargo just lifted, and within a few, within like an hour, Rotten Tomatoes already put out there like, oh, it's got a 48%. It was incredibly rushed. I mean, it was a 48% with like 20 something reviews. You can't judge it based off the 20 reviews, Rotten Tomatoes. That was an early judgment on your part. The Rotten Tomatoes score doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. Like we talked about with 2014. 2014 is certified as fresh. Godzilla fans generally, I mean, there's a fair amount of fans that like it, but even Godzilla fans are over it. They didn't really love the movie, or at the very least is very divisive. I mean, I certainly like it, but it is very split. And then you also have a whole bunch of other Godzilla movies that are just trashed on critically, and everyone loved them. Like all the fans love them. So you really can't say like one way or another, or the Rotten Tomatoes score is good, that means it's good, or the Rotten Tomatoes score is bad, that means it's bad. The Rotten Tomatoes score doesn't mean anything. It just doesn't. I will say this is the lowest of the Monsterverse so far. Kong Skull Island also has a 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, but Kong Skull Island again has 358 reviews. So there is a significant difference between 358 and 39. There's just a big difference. Godzilla King of the Monsters seems to be kind of fluctuating all over the place with these reviews. When it very first was revealed, it was sitting at something like a 30%. It was not doing well at the very start. And then it worked up to, when I saw it, was like at a 68%. And then it got knocked down to the 48 when they revealed it on Rotten Tomatoes, Twitter, and everywhere else. And then it bumped up to a 56. So the movie's kind of all over the place. There's no real way to tell where it's going to land on Rotten Tomatoes at this point. But I don't think that really matters because you can go outside of Rotten Tomatoes to find reviews. Toho Kingdom loved the movie. They called it an instant classic, and it even made it into one of the trailers. The Toho Kingdom quote. Toho Kingdom, that's a great representation of Godzilla fans. They loved it. Well, I mean, at least Chris from Toho Kingdom loved it. We'll wait to see what the other Toho Kingdom members thought. Also, IGN rates the movie a 7.8, which is not bad. That's a 78%. That's, I mean, when you put it into percentages, you're like, yeah, that's still like a C, right? But, you know, it's not bad. Nearly nearly an 80%. That is not bad at all. Collider gave the movie, one person on Collider anyways, gave the movie an 8.5, while the other person gave it a 9 out of 10. So on Collider, you have people who really liked it. Bloody Disgusting gave the movie a 4 out of 5. So you're seeing there's a big difference between Rotten Tomatoes and everywhere else. Usually, from what we're seeing here, it seems like the movie is kind of hovering between the 70 to 80 zone. 70, I don't know, actually no, let's do the math. The movie is sitting at an 83.25% if we're going off Bloody Disgusting, Collider, and IGN. If we're including Rotten Tomatoes, it's knocked down a little bit, right? I'm just saying the 56%, don't let that dictate if you see the movie or not. Don't even let that worry you. Don't let it be a thing that freaks you out. Toho Kingdom loved the movie. They didn't give me a percentage. I didn't ask for a percentage. I didn't ask Chris, hey, what do you rate it? I just said, is it good? He said yes. He's seeing it 3 times on top of the 1 time he's already seen it already. That's his plan. I have tickets for the movie for 3 separate days. I've bought, how many tickets have I bought? I bought something like 13 tickets for the movie. I've spent an absurd amount of money on this movie so that me and my friends could go see it. I'm thinking that the movie's gonna be all right, okay? Now let's talk about some of the criticisms that we're seeing, the critiques that we got on Rotten Tomatoes. Well, first of all, we'll talk about some positives because that's where we should kick it off. It seems like a lot of people are really satisfied with the monster action. They just seem to love it. They think that the cinematography, the directing is great. They think the monster action is fantastic. They think the special effects are amazing. It seems like a lot of people who did rate it positively, though, say it's kind of a turn your brain off summer blockbuster, which is okay. I like my Godzilla movies to have a little more depth to them, but if this is what we're going with, that's all right. I didn't really expect this movie to be the deepest Godzilla movie of all time, so that's nothing surprising to me. As for the critiques, it seems like they are all over the place. Like, they're not even like reviewing the same movie. You have some people who say things like, why was Godzilla not even in the movie? We saw no Godzilla in the whole movie. It's a Godzilla movie. He's the title character and he's hardly in it. So that one, like, you see reviews like that and you're just like, how many times? How many times are critics gonna make this same complaint in a Godzilla movie before they just realize that Godzilla is not the only thing on screen? We can't have 2.5 hours of just Godzilla. It's just not gonna happen, ever. And then you got your other set of critics who say, way too much monster stuff, way too much Godzilla. We need more human stuff. We need way more time with the humans. That's just the way it needs to be because the humans need to carry the movie so that the monsters don't have to. I actually tend to agree with that camp. I don't think we should have too much monsters. That's been something that I have said for a while, that I don't think we should have too much monsters. I think the humans should have a lot of screen time. But you know what? I'm in the minority here, so I'm actually surprised to see that the majority of people with negative reviews have that same mindset as I do. I mean, no, I shouldn't be surprised though, because if we reverse it, 2014, the main negative critique that 2014 got was way too much human stuff, way too little monster stuff. Now, with King of the Monsters, it seems like Warner Brothers Legendary listened and went, all right, we're gonna flip it. And they did. And now it seems like the main negative critique is way too much monster stuff, not enough human stuff. So you're never gonna satisfy everyone. I expect that I'll be satisfied because it's Godzilla. I can enjoy it, all right? I will find enjoyment in it. Even if I think there is too much monster stuff, I still think the monster stuff in this movie is gonna be pretty freaking cool. But I just think it's funny, like, there's first of all 2 camps inside of King of the Monsters itself, where there's like 2 sets of reviews that don't even tend to agree with each other. What, is there too much or too little Godzilla? I don't know, because the reviews don't make it clear. They're all over the place. I'm gonna assume there's a fair balance, I guess. And then you got the split between King of the Monsters overall, the main negative critiques, and 2014, which is 2014, too much human stuff. Godzilla King of the Monsters, not enough human stuff. You're never going to satisfy these people. The same people that complained about too much human stuff in 2014 are the same people complaining about not enough human stuff in Godzilla King of the Monsters. It's just like people are determined to hate this franchise, and I don't understand why. I really don't get it. I don't know why there's like this negative connotation associated with Godzilla movies. I just don't understand. People automatically assume that they're cheesy and dumb, and they will never actually take them seriously or even try to take them seriously. And so does it surprise me that the critics didn't like it? Absolutely not, because they tend not to like Godzilla movies. They tend not to get Godzilla movies. So that's what I'll say. I'll say that the critics are just wrong, usually. Or at the very least, because I don't want to be like, oh, my opinion's more correct than yours. I'm just saying critics tend to be wrong in the eyes of Godzilla fans, or in the eyes of people who aren't, who can think. Anyways, I don't know, guys. Moral of the story is don't let Rotten Tomatoes scare you. The movie seems to be doing fine everywhere else. YouTube loves this movie. The YouTube reviews are all over it. China China really liked the movie. General perception from China, general perception coming out of the main screening for Godzilla King of the Monsters, people really like it. It's just these critics on Rotten Tomatoes is the only place where I'm seeing a majority of negative reviews, and even there, it's actually not. It's 56% at the time I'm recording this. 56, that's still the majority of people who like it. I anticipate that audience scores will be higher for King of the Monsters, although I will say this probably did hurt the box office, which sucks because they really did rush that Rotten Tomatoes reveal, which is a shame. They shouldn't have done that. They should have waited like 24 hours before doing it, because that would probably give a better idea of what the movie is going to be like in terms of ratings. Either way, just go see the movie and rate it for yourself. Decide what you think of it for yourself. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I think everyone should do. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. D-Man, out.